woman's clitoris is to be a sunat, so that the women do not get pleasure in the intercourse in their sexual marriage, so that the woman will never cheat on the man. And the man will always use the woman just for his own personal sexual pleasure. That was stated in the book. And I want to learn and understand, is that true to what the teachings of our Quran or
Doesn't seem
Islam?
that way.
Female circumcision or even male circumcision has existed before Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam received the wahyu or received the revelation from God when he was appointed as a prophet. Yeah, and Islam came and probably continues certain practice like the male circumcision, right? But the female circumcision, there has been no findings at all from religious perspective that it should continue, especially when you look at the medical point of view, that female circumcision, or what is known now as female genital mutilation, it doesn't give benefit at all to women. And those who said that Islam came and produced and start this law of female genital mutilation is wrong, because this is a culture. If it's introduced by Islam, why is it in Africa and even among the Christian Africans, they still practice female genital mutilation?
So you're totally
it's
against
about
that as well.
culture, and it's about old tradition that needs to stop now.
Okay, to be fair to the muftis, they are saying that we want this fatwa enforced and we want to make sure that everyone follows and adheres to it. It's because we want to uphold the sanctity of Islam, and we don't want Islam to be tainted. And please, sisters in Islam, don't do this. That's what they're saying.
Yes, for sure. You see, we respect Islamic scholars, the ulama, whether they are state appointed or they are not state appointed. Yeah, the traditional respect that Muslims would always have towards mufti or Islamic scholars have always been, has always been our tradition. Yeah. So it's not about sisters in Islam criticizing or not agreeing with the mufti. We respect them. They are learned people. Yeah? But what we want to push the issue is that what is fatwa in Islam? Well, historically, fatwa has always been a legal opinion, and historically, imams in the olden days, the big imams, even in the Sunni madhab, in the four big imams, and the ulama in all the four mazhabs, would always come to a conclusion, this is how, if I come and reach my fatwa, my decision on something, this is my decision and I stand by it, right? But Allahu Alam, Allah knows best, because the other imam may be correct, right?
Are there women in the national fatwa councils?
I don't know, I don't think so. If they sit in the big fatwa council.
So how are we going to understand, or how are they going to understand what a
issues
woman
of women
want and how they feel?
A good question. And this also comes back to even women's participation in politics, or women participation in our parliament. How do a country, or even when it comes to the Fatwa Council, where you want to get reasonable, fair views being addressed, when the people in that muzakara, in that meeting, are people who usually have the same opinion, wanting to take certain opinions from the ulama of the past to as an argument for their fatwa, and never maybe look at other opinions that are more moderate, that are more progressive, that appeals more to answer the questions in our society. Because fatwa or legal opinion always must look at these two factors: the maslaha ummah, which is the interest of the public, what is good for the public, and also it must relate to makan wa zaman. It has to relate to the place and time of the society. And that is why when Rasulullah SAW appointed Mu'az ibn Jabal, if I'm not mistaken, to be a governor in Yemen, he asked Mu'az, if you are to decide on something, how you decide it, I will go with the Quran, I will follow the Quran. And if it's not in the Quran, because not all things are covered there, he said, then I will follow your sunnah, Rasulullah. I will follow whatever you have taught me. And if it's not even doesn't exist in Quran and Sunnah, and this is the same time of the Prophet, yeah. But of course, there's no text messages or email at that
And
time
beauty
for Muaz.
pageants at that time.
Well, there's no. And this is at the same time of the Prophet. And he asked, but if you cannot find the issues that come to you for you to decide in Quran or in Sunnah, how would you decide? I will decide using my head, my akal.
I want to ask this with regards to this group of women. They are better known for saying something like this, where our husbands are looking for prostitutes because we are not serving and taking care of our husbands like prostitutes. The Obedient Wife Club.
Sounds very familiar. That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
the Obedient Wives
what is
Club.
your opinion and your take on this group of women who are championing their cause?
I would first ask them, what is marriage in Islam? Because in Quran it talks about mahabba wa rahmah. It talks about you are the cloak of your husband and that your husband, you are garment to each other. You are the awliya of each other, protector of each other. So where is this awliya, protector, this partnership that is in the Quran, the message of Quran when God talk about marriage? Where do you apply this when when their message is the wife to submit and sexually available to the husband? Is this what marriage
Well, they say you're
is
supposed
all
to act.
about
Yeah,
in
you're supposed to
Islam?
act like a prostitute in bed.
Yeah, first class prostitute.
That's
I mean,
right.
is that what Islam said? Go back to Quran and find that that you are to give pleasure to your husband.
So it's
Where
not
do you
there,
find
right?
it? It's not there. It talks about mahabba wa rahmah. It talks about love and compassion. It talks about even in the hadith of Rasulullah SAW, he even restricted or he even warned those who beat their wives in the day and then go to their wives in the night and say, don't you have any shame for you to treat your wives like this? It's like a warning that this is your partner, this is your companion in life, how dare you treat her like that? So this whole thing about relationship, sexual relationship, and you have to bow down to your husband and be sexually available to him 24/7. This is not Islam. I don't know where they get this idea
Is
from.
this something a man likes?
Something convenient to a man, perhaps,
Yeah.
that is all about how it interprets to satisfy the man's lust and needs and desires?
Not all men. Only men who look at women as a sexual object.
What do you
probably.
think, Ernie? Let's ask Ernie.
Ask me in regards to
Yeah.
what do a man want.
Yeah.
I think a man will always want to have it his way, as to when and however he wants it, whether it's a Muslim man or not a Muslim man. But is that the right thing to be doing to treat a woman with respect? That's the question I want to ask here. And I'm always against this. And the other thing I'm very against, which leads me to my next question, with regards to Payung Emas. I actually did a tele movie called Payung Emas, and I had a big time, a very difficult time understanding how to accept that Payung Emas, where I find it okay, that's how it's supposed to be. You're allowed to have this wife, that wife. In fact, one
You
to
allow
start,
your husband to marry,
you marry again. What's your
and
opinion on
whatever.
having a
Yeah.
second wife, a third wife,
Polygamy.
fourth wife? According to Islam, it's allowed, but it's allowed because it's to take care of women who are janda, my understanding, and perhaps you could educate me a little bit more
And to get that payung emas.
to get the Payung Emas.
Good.
Yeah. Very
I
briefly,
met my an Egyptian friend, and I asked her whether they've heard of, because it's so famous that it now has become hadith. Yeah, it's become hadith. Have you heard of this hadith that any woman who provides the husband to take a second wife, who would find for him a second wife, would be given a payung emas in Jannah, in Shurga, in paradise.
Yeah.
So she said, what is that? And I said, it's a golden umbrella. She said, first of all, Rasulullah would not even understand the concept of golden umbrella in 7th century Arabia. So I don't know how he would utter such a word.
Okay.
Yeah. And secondly, she said, she's never heard of it. So we did our research, and apparently it actually appeared in Indo-Pakistan, this so-called hadith. And then, of course, we got our Islam from there. So this has been, so famously, especially from the Polygamy club, that if you find your husband a spouse, then you will get this biomass in sugar. First of all, I just want to question, nobody knows what sugar is, but from what we read in Quran, it's so beautiful, right? Do you think God will make it so hot that you need to have umbrella? And to have umbrella made of gold, isn't it like heavy? And so it's nowhere in Quran, nowhere in Hadith about this biomass. It's just
Interpreted, created.
folktale that to satisfy certain groups of people who think that, you know, sex is the only thing in life.
We need to wrap it up. And as a wrap, kindly tell us, what do you want and what do you see would be the best for Malaysian Muslim women? What would you want to fight for them, Ratna?
We are calling for gender equality. Yeah, we are calling for looking back into the message of the Quran when it talks about relationship between husband and wife. The last verse that actually correspond on partnership between husband and wife is Surah At-Tawbah. That was the last revelation from God when it talks about men and women. It talks about men and women as awliya, protector one of another. And this has been the core push in our work when we look at the Islamic family law, when we look at even general fundamental rights of a human being, right? Because equality and justice must go hand in hand. If there's no equality, there's no justice.
Right. Are you a feminist? Do you hate men? Sorry, that had to come out.
We don't hate men. How can I hate men? I have 3 sons.
Ernie, any more questions from you?
I don't have more questions, but definitely I would like you to come back and speak to my Muslim Malay staff and also a lot more of the Malay men that I've been having a lot of debates with. So that's why I definitely enjoyed this session here. Thank you for answering all the questions, and it was very educational for me to enhance and also allow me to make better debates and arguments in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ratna, and good luck to your work. And we hope you've enjoyed your that session as well. We'll see you once again. Thank you so much. We are also on Free Malaysia Today to watch us. Bye-bye.